Greetings, Fantastic Fives. Good to have you with me again. I'm Mr. T, and let's do some maths. It's a weird lesson today. It's one of those subjects that I actually am not 100% sure why we still teach, but it is one of those subjects that where the things are in real life and we do come across them. It is Roman numerals. So just before we get on to the lesson, the normal reminders at the start. If you'd like to email me, I am Mr. T or Mr. Travis. It's grade5@WorksheetCloud.com. After the lesson, click on the link above, do the worksheet, make sure you've got this. As I say, it's one of those topics that comes up over and over again, all the way through primary school, comes up in real life a couple of times, and a lot of people, even adults, don't know how to do it. But if you concentrate for the next half an hour or so and do the worksheet, I think you'll probably have it and you'll be able to show off to your teacher just how good you are. Some teachers don't have it as either. Don't tell them I said that. Also, the normal start of the lesson. The next slide is going to be 10 arithmetic problems, mental arithmetic, things you should be able to do in your head, things that actually should be in your head that you should be so good at that you don't really even need to work them out. Today I've got plus and minus mixed together, so first of all, don't make the mistake of doing the wrong operation. It's either plus or minus. You have 40 seconds, the 10 problems, 4 seconds per problem. Accuracy or correctness is the most important thing. And secondly, if you're getting them all right, then you can focus on speed. But first, get them right, then get them done quickly. So, just the answers. Your 40 seconds start now. And your 40 seconds end now. Okay, marking them. 10 minus 8 is 2. 6 minus 5 is 1. 6 plus 6 is 12. 3 plus 2 is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 5 is 7. 14 minus 4 is 10. 15 minus 13 is 2. If you missed any of those, just rewind the video, watch it again, give it a mark. Remember, it's not about always getting them all right, it's about getting better. If you are getting all right, that's great, but if you're improving, that's awesome as well. We've also made a habit of starting with these. So let's have a look at these. I'll switch across to the whiteboard now so that you can see it. But just take a note that down here on the bottom, we've got 2 stars, although it's actually a slightly different star. Okay, well, let's do it both ways, but be aware that this has 5 stars, 5 points to a star. That has 6, and there are 2 of them over here. Maybe it'll make sense once we've worked things out. Okay, so you can start with that. You can do it in your head, you can jot it down on paper. I'm going to switch across to the whiteboard so that I can draw on it as well. Give you a little bit of a head start. The row you want to start with is the first one, and that's because that's the one where it's all the same. You'll be able to figure it out. Okay, I'm not very patient. If you want more time with it, that's fine. You can pause it. I have great respect for those of you that pause it and spend some time doing it. I'm going to do it, and if I've done a row and then you're like, I think I can do it from here, then you carry on from there on your own. So just pause the video at that point as well. Okay, so the first row, I've got 3 things. They're all the same, and so what I can do is I can share my 18 out into 3 groups. So 18 shared by 3 is 6, so each of these is worth 6. It is a side note because these things are designed to be a little bit tricky, so there's always an element of not so much maths that comes into it, but notice that there are 6 points to that star, and it is worth 6. Perhaps that plays a role down here where there are 5 points on the star. Okay, let's look at the second row. Oh, sorry, what we can also do is say that this is worth 6 because it's the same as the one in the first row. So now we know that two things that are the same plus the 6 comes to 14. So if I first remove the 6 from the 14, that leaves me with 8, which I have to share equally between the two windmills, which means that each of those is worth 4. Okay, noticing that 4 points and it's worth 4. This one too is worth 4 because it's got 4 points. This is one of those things that's useless. 0, 2 doesn't mean anything, doesn't make it wrong if you put it there, but it's just 2. Okay, so we've got something plus something minus 4 gives us 2. Okay, so let's quickly do this. What we're going to do is we're going to add the 4 back. We get 6, and now we've got to share the 6 between these two clocks. And if I share the 6 between those two clocks, I get, wrong color, I get 3. Noticing also from our time lesson that the time on the clock is 3. I think all of these little tricks is why 90% of people will fail to get this right. Okay. I suppose the last line is more tricks than maths, so I think I will just go straight into it. So first up, this windmill has 3 points. So the windmills with 4 points were worth 4. The windmill with 3 points, we can assume, is worth 3. The time on this clock is 2, so we can assume that this one is worth 2. So those are 3, and the one below is 2. And finally, the number of points on this star is 5. So 2 5s together gives us 10. And now we can work it out. So the first 3 rows are really maths, and then the last row is just really a little bit of like, got to think about it up here. Okay, so we've got 3 plus 2 times 10. If you remember your bed maths, you have to do this part first. So 2 times 10 is 20. 3 plus 20 is 23. And so your answer down here is 23. Guaranteed, if you show that to one of your parents and they're quite good at these things, they might just miss the fact that because it's got 3 points, it's worth 3. Because the clock is pointing to 2, it's worth 2. And because the number of points on the star is different, it's a little tricky. But you never know. If you start to look at these things, if you start to think about these things, it makes you more aware of numbers. It makes you better at maths. So the first 3 rows are maths. The last row is a little bit of tricks before it's maths. Right, back to our Roman numerals. So Roman numerals. After this lesson, really what I want you to be able to do is to read and write Roman numerals. Apologies, that should be a capital R. So Roman numerals. Why are Roman numerals still used? I'm not entirely sure, but you can see an example over here. This is 1, so 0.1 and 0.2 in Roman numerals, still used there. And where do we find them? Well, in fact, if you're in a Word document on a computer, and you can choose to list like these with Roman numerals, sometimes you find them in exam questions, often at the start of a book, if there's a bit that comes before the start of the book. So you've got chapter 1, which starts on page 1, but sometimes there's a preface, something that comes before, and that's often numbered in Roman numerals. Anyway, these are part of your maths curriculum, so you may as well get to know them, and then you'll be good at them forever, and it's really not that hard. Okay, essentially, we have 7 different things. I'm pretty sure most of you have more than 7 people in your class, and you can remember all of the names of people in your class, so I'm pretty sure you'll be able to remember 7 names. So try and remember these. I, and it can be a capital or a lowercase I is equal to 1, V is equal to 5, X is equal to 10, L is 50, C is 100, D is 500, and M is 1000. Most of the work you get in grade 5 will be limited to the first 3, I, V, and X, and possibly also C. So most of the work you'll get is there, but I mean, really, 7 things. Let's just memorize them now. Okay, so take a moment, memorize those, because I'm going to check how good your memory is in a moment. I'm not actually going to give you a moment because a moment is 90 seconds and I don't want to waste 90 seconds. So keeping that in the back of your mind, how do we make up other numbers? So we only have 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 500, and 1,000. So how on earth do we make up the normal numbers? Well, like normal numbers, which, by the way, are actually Arabic numbers. The numbers we use every day are Arabic numbers. We use combinations of them. So if I wanted to make up 53, I use a 5 and a 3. In the same way, Roman numerals use combinations of them. And that's what we're going to learn how to do today. So generally, we just add them together. So if I had the number XVI, x is 10, v is 5, and I is 1. So XVI is 16. Pretty simple. VIII, aye, Captain. VIII is 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is 8. So VIII is equal to 8 in Arabic numerals. But there's a little bit of a difficult thing, and maybe this is where what makes Roman numerals tricky for some people is when you get close to the next symbol, sort of how we do it with time, we put a smaller symbol in front of the bigger one. So what I mean by that, for example, is IX is a 1 in front of a 10, and one number in front of 10 is 9. So IX is 9. So you'll remember on the previous slide I did 8, which is VIII. And then when we just 1 away from 10, we say 1 in front of 10 is 9. Okay, so let's jump across to the whiteboard. I hope your memory is good. Take a moment to see if you can remember what each of these stands for. I've put them in order, so that makes it a little easier. I is equal to 1, V is equal to 5, X is equal to 10, L is equal to 50, C is equal to 100, D is equal to 500, M is equal to 1,000. There are tricks that you can use to show a million, but that's not part of your syllabus, and it just involves an M and a line. But I'm actually not even going to touch on that today. Let's get the basics in place so that for the rest of your school career, you've got Roman numerals. Okay, I thought what I would do, just as a way of starting, is I would go through the numbers 1 through to 20. And deliberately, I've said 1 through to 20. I'll keep that on the board on the right-hand side so you can see, so that you can get a feel for how the numbers work. So starting with 1, that is just I. 2, I. So I've just put capital letters like that. You could also do it as I like that. Also 2. I'm going to just do them all in capitals. I've also done the line across the top and the bottom that it's joined. Still means the same thing. 3, is I. 4. Are you getting this? If you guessed I, you're wrong. It's 1 in front of a 5. 1 is I, 5 is V, 1 in front of 5 is a 4. That makes sense, I hope. 5 is easy, that's just V. 6, V, I. 1 after 5 is 6. 7, V, I. Oh, sorry, that's too many I's. VII, that's 7. 8, V, I. I'm going to do a little bit weird. I'm going to say that we do 10 before we do 9. So 10 is easy. That's on the side there. That's going to be just X. 9 is 1 before 10. And literally, we write 1 before 10. So X is 9. So what you'll notice is over here, we were 1 in front of the 5. And that's how we wrote it. Over here, we were 1 in front of the 10. And that's how we wrote it. Let's do 11 through to 15 so long. Oh, that's not what I want to write. Okay, so while I'm writing down the numbers, why don't you try and write down the numbers in Roman numerals? If you'd like a bit more time, if you feel like you've got enough to go with, then you can. Otherwise, let's work through these ones and you should be able to try the ones in the next set because it starts to make the pattern starts to become quite clear at this point. I use green for this column. All right, well, 11 is 1 after 10, xi. X is 10, I is 1, 10 plus 1 is 11. Hope you can see that, it's pretty small. X, I. It's 2 after 10. So you'll notice that really all I've got is the number in the first column with an X in front of it, because everything in the teens is the same as the units, but with 10. We just got an extra 10. I've just given away the answers for all of these. So we've got X, I. 4 was IV. So X and a 4, 10 and a 4, is 14. That's together 4. XV, 15. XVI, 16. XVI, 17. XVI, 18. Oh, what about 19? Well, we had X, and 9 was IX. That's 19. And finally, 20 is XX. As simple as that. Right. I'm only going to make you do I'm going to make or ask you to try and do 21 to 25. And then we're going to move to some slightly bigger numbers. So I'm going to have a sip of my tea, and you guys can try numbers 21 to 25 in Roman numerals. I know that's not nearly enough time, so if you'd like some more time, pause the video. You can try it well. 20 was XX, 1 was I, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Hope you're seeing this pattern now. Right, we're going to jump across to some bigger numbers, but for the bigger numbers, I'm going to teach it the other way around. So this time, going from Roman numerals to Arabic numerals, normal numerals. I'm just going to pause it so I can write them all up for you. Okay, I've got 5 Roman numerals here, or 5 numbers written in Roman numerals, and I need to write them in Arabic numerals, normal numbers. Okay, I'm going to have a look at the first one. I know that X is worth 10. 10, 10, 10. V is worth 5, and each of these is worth 1. So all I need to do is write those down or add those together to get my Roman numerals. So 10, 20, 30, 35, 36, 37, 38. And this number here is 38 in Arabic numerals. Next one, 10, 10, 1, 10. So I've just got to add those together. 10, 20, 21, 31. Wrong. All right, here's where you've got to keep an eye out for this thing. When you have the smaller number in front of one of your bigger numbers, so there's an example of a smaller number in front of the bigger number, we need to think of that as one number. So 1 in front of 10 is 9. So instead of saying 10 plus 10 plus 1 plus 10, I go 10 plus 10 plus 9. So that number there is 29. Let's do the next one. L, it's on the right there, it's 50. 10, 10, 1, 5. Being aware that when I got the smaller one in front, I've got to consider them together. 1 in front of 5 is 4. 50, 60, 70, 74. Right. Looked very complicated, but now it's starting, at least I hope it's starting, to look much less complicated. Let's look at the next one. C was 100, L was 50, V was 5, 1 and 1. So we're going from biggest to smallest. We can just add them together. 100, 200, 250, 255, 256, 257, 257. Okay, next one. D is 500, C is 100, L is 50, X is 10, V is 5, and 1. 500, 600, 650, 660, 665, 666, 666. There we go. That's how we do it. So that's pretty straightforward. I'm going to shift across and put up some more ones with some slightly different complicated ones. Not complicated, but following the same patterns, just a little bit different. Okay, XLVI. 10, 50, 5, 1. So important to notice, we've got a smaller one in front of that bigger one, so we have to consider that together. So XL together becomes 40. So 40, 45, 46. So that is how we write 46 in Roman numerals. 10, 100, 10, 10, 1. So again, noticing that we have a smaller one in front of a bigger one. 10 in front of 100 is 90. 90 plus 10 plus... what am I doing? You would never get this number. Scratch that. I was more focused on the procedure. We will leave out number 7 because Mr. Travis was making stupid things. Mr. Travis has replaced it with one that is a useful number. The other one, we just would never have written the number like that. Okay, so M was 1,000, X was 10, L was 50, 1, 10. So for this one, we need to consider these two together. So 10 in front of 50 is 40. And we need to consider those two together. 1 in front of 10 is 9. So 1,049. There we go. Looking at number 8, we've got 100. We've got 1,000. We've got 10. We've got 50, 5, and 1. So we have to consider these two together. We have to consider these two together. So let's do that. So 100 in front of 1,000 is 900. 10 in front of 50 is 40. 5 and 1. So 946. This one, I wrote down the wrong numbers. This is what I wanted to write. MMXX. So 1,000, 1,000, 10, 10. So in fact, that is the year 2020. For the last one of this example, we've got 1,000, 1,000, 500, 40. Oh, sorry, I'm already jumping ahead. I was thinking of those together. 10, 50, which together is 40. 110 together is 9. So 2,549. 2,549. Okay, I hope you got this. I'm going to take a moment and we're going to do a couple where I ask you to write it in Roman numerals, but they're slightly bigger. So for these ones, we need to find combinations of the Roman letters that make up, or the Roman numerals that make up these. Okay, so to get 80, I would use a 50, 3 10s, a 5, and a 1. So in fact, I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to do L, X, 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 V, I. Oh, I even wrote the last two as Roman numerals already. Whoopsie. Okay, so L, X, 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 V, I is 86. Next one, I'll just use a 50 and a 1. L, I. Next one, To do 90, I will choose to be I'll choose to be 10 in front of 100. So 10 in front of 100, that's my 90, because I'm considering those together. 90, and then I need a 4, so 1 in front of V, or I in front of V, because together those are F4. That's 94 in Roman numerals. 100 was C, 3 was I, and quite simply, that is 103 in Roman numerals. For 100, I'll use a 50, 2 10s, that comes to 70, and a V, which makes it to 75. Right, I hope that after that crash course in Roman numerals, you are now proficient. You are able to do it. I hope it makes sense. I hope that you'll be able to show your teacher how to do it. It's one of those things, a little bit of practice, but once you've got the basics in place, it's not so difficult. That's it for today. I look forward to seeing you again in grade 5s. Reminder, if you want to email me, it's grade5@worksheetcloud.com. And after this, click on that link, do the worksheet, and then you can practice and just make sure that you do have Roman numerals. If not, watch the lesson again, do some more practice. I'm sure you can find some in your books at school, or you can ask your teacher for some. It's going to come up at school. Let's nail this. Grade 5s, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you again soon.